The summer sun beat down mercilessly on the asphalt of the Metro Market parking lot, where Daniel Wilson's dark gray sedan pulled into a handicap space near the entrance. The retired Marine veteran adjusted his rearview mirror, catching a glimpse of the purple heart pin fastened to his collar, a small reminder of the sacrifice that had earned him the right to park there. Daniel hadn't asked for special treatment when he'd lost his right leg in combat. He hadn't asked for the countless nights of phantom pain, the grueling physical therapy sessions, or the sideways glances from strangers who couldn't see his prosthetic leg beneath his khakis. All he'd asked for was a chance to live his life with dignity. But dignity, as he was about to learn, sometimes comes at a price. As Daniel carefully maneuvered himself out of his car, reaching for his cane, the first whispers reached his ears. They came from a group of 4 people huddled around their luxury SUV, designer coffee cups in hand, faces twisted in what could only be described as practiced disdain. "Look at him," the tallest of the group, a man wearing mirrored aviators and a polo shirt that probably cost more than Daniel's weekly disability check, stage whispered to his companions. "Another faker taking advantage of the system." Daniel's fingers tightened around his cane. 15 years of military service had taught him discipline, had shown him how to keep his cool under fire, both literal and metaphorical. But something about their sneers, their entitled certainty, made his blood simmer. A woman in the group, her blonde hair perfectly styled despite the summer heat, took a theatrical sip of her iced coffee. "It's disgusting," she declared, loud enough to carry. "My grandmother actually needs those spaces, and here's this guy, walking around just fine." Daniel forced himself to keep moving, one measured step at a time. He didn't owe them an explanation. Didn't need to show them the prosthetic hidden beneath his pants leg. Didn't need to prove himself to people who'd probably never sacrificed anything more significant than their Sunday brunch plans. Inside the store, Daniel went about his shopping with military efficiency: milk, eggs, bread, and his pain medication, a routine as familiar as field stripping his rifle had once been. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, a counterpoint to the echo of those sneering voices still playing in his mind. But when he emerged from the store 15 minutes later, Daniel's world tilted on its axis. His car, the same vehicle that had carried him to countless VA appointments, was now decorated with splattered eggs. The yellow yolks dripped down his windshield like tears, shell fragments scattered across his hood like shrapnel. And there they were, the same group, watching from across the lot, their laughter carrying across the asphalt like poison. Something inside Daniel snapped, not in anger, but in determination. He'd faced down insurgents in combat. He wouldn't be cowed by coffee-wielding bullies in a grocery store parking lot. With deliberate calm, he approached the group. The tall man stepped forward, chest puffed out like a peacock on parade. "Having car trouble, old man?" he sneered. "Maybe next time you'll think twice about stealing spots from people who actually need them." Daniel's voice, when it came, was steady as a sniper's hand. "You don't know me," he said. "You don't know anything about me." "We know you're a fraud," the blonde woman cut in, her words dripping with artificial sweetness. "And frauds need to be taught lessons." The distant wail of police sirens cut through the tension. Someone, likely one of the entitled group, had called law enforcement, probably expecting the veteran to be hauled away in handcuffs. They couldn't have been more wrong. 2 officers arrived, their expressions professional but wary. The tall man immediately launched into his version of events, painting himself as a concerned citizen standing up against disability fraud. But Daniel simply reached for his wallet, producing his military ID and handicap placard with quiet dignity. Then, in a moment that would later go viral across social media, Daniel slowly rolled up his right pant leg, revealing the metallic gleam of his prosthetic limb. The parking lot fell silent, save for the sharp intake of breath from the gathered crowd of onlookers. "I lost this leg serving our country," Daniel said, his voice carrying across the suddenly silent lot. "I didn't ask for your judgment, your harassment, or your eggs on my car, but you gave them to me anyway." The color drained from the tall man's face. His companions shifted uncomfortably, their designer coffees forgotten in suddenly trembling hands. The female officer's expression hardened as she turned to face them. "You're under arrest for vandalism and harassment," she announced, reaching for her handcuffs. "And I suspect the DA will be very interested in the hate crime aspects of this case." What happened next would be described by witnesses as a moment of community redemption. As the entitled group was led away in handcuffs, their expensive watches glinting in the sunlight, other shoppers stepped forward. They brought paper towels, cleaning supplies, and most importantly, their sincere apologies for not intervening sooner. A middle-aged man in work clothes spent 30 minutes helping Daniel clean every trace of egg from his car. An elderly woman with her own handicap placard shared stories of similar experiences, tears in her eyes. The store manager emerged with security footage of the incident and his own heartfelt apology, but the story didn't end there. By nightfall, the video had gone viral. Local news stations ran the footage on repeat, a decorated veteran calmly exposing prejudice, standing his ground with dignity while his attackers revealed their own ugliness to the world. The grocery store chain's corporate office issued a statement the next day, announcing a $10,000 donation to Daniel's charity of choice and implementing new security measures to protect disabled parking spaces. The entitled group's employers saw the footage. 4 resignation announcements followed within 24 hours. When Daniel finally arrived home that evening, his wife Layla was waiting with dinner and understanding. As they watched the news coverage together, she squeezed his hand. "You did more than stand up for yourself today," she said softly. "You stood up for every veteran, every disabled person who's ever been questioned or harassed. You showed them what real strength looks like." Daniel smiled, feeling the weight of the day finally lifting from his shoulders. Sometimes dignity comes at a price, but today, justice had offered a refund. The incident sparked a national conversation about disability rights, veteran respect, and the dangers of snap judgments. Local veterans groups organized educational programs about invisible disabilities. The grocery store implemented sensitivity training for all employees. And Daniel? He continued to park in that same spot every week, head held high, no longer wondering if anyone would question his right to be there. Because sometimes the biggest victories come not from winning battles, but from changing minds, one parking lot confrontation at a time. This story serves as a powerful reminder that courage wears many faces, and true strength often lies not in our ability to fight back, but in our capacity to stand firm in our truth. It challenges us to look beyond our assumptions and treat every person we meet with the dignity they deserve. For more stories that inspire, challenge, and change perspectives, subscribe to our channel and join our community of thoughtful viewers who believe in the power of shared experiences to make our world a little bit better, one story at a time.